I want to talk about the Mike Norvell locker room speech that has slowly started to circulate around college football social media. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Mike Norvell, after the game against Georgia Tech, obviously addresses his team. And I'm paraphrasing here, but here's essentially what he was getting at when he addressed them after that heartbreaking loss. Put yourself in their position too. You're a top 10 ranked team. You're favored by double digits. You're in a foreign country. You're probably questioning a lot of what just happened. Like there's probably some shock factor baked in there. Florida State fans, I ain't hear no bell. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We want y'all a part of everything we're doing here throughout college football season. Making sure you're subscribed is the best way to ensure that you are catching all the content we have around the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth and your Noles. Here's what Mike Norvell said. Again, paraphrasing, this is essentially what he said. He said, everybody knows that we are better than what we just showed. He goes on to say, that all comes down to me. He says, I'm going to do a better job in continuing to push the standard. Then he ended with this. This is what I love. If you respond to it, it being the loss they just had, you'll be able to point back and say that was an experience, but our result took us to a place people didn't think we could go. Y'all, that's culture. People try and talk about culture being this and that. There's a lot of ways where you can try and define it, but I'm just telling you, Mike Norvell addressing his team that way after a heartbreaking loss, that is culture. Because notice, it's very easy to talk about culture when you're winning. It's very easy to say, yeah, we'll put it on the t-shirt with the slogan and the hashtag and all that when things are going well. What about when you lose a game you're not supposed to lose against an unranked opponent in conference play to start the year? On national television, the only game on at that point in time. Then who are you? Losses reveal culture. And to me, seeing Mike Norvell respond that way, that gave me so much confidence in the direction of Florida State beyond even just this season. We'll talk about this season more throughout this segment, but like beyond this season, I feel a ton of confidence that Mike Norvell is going to win a lot of football games as long as he's in Tallahassee and beyond, whenever, should ever that time arise. In a situation like that, promise you Mike Norvell is probably feeling a lot of emotions. He's probably feeling every emotion in the book: anger, sadness, confusion, frustration, everything that just comes with losing an intense competitive contest. But notice, there's no, you did this, you did that, you let me down. Defense, what are you doing allowing 200 yards on the ground? Offense, why are we not pushing the ball downfield? Offensive line, y'all are supposed to be the bread and butter to this whole thing. What's going on? There's no blame game. That's leadership. That's leadership. Leadership is taking accountability. Leadership is saying, okay, hey, here's what we got to get done. This is on me. Here's my part. Mike Norvell says, my part is to push the standard and to get you guys as ready as possible to play with confidence. Not saying, I need this, I need that, you did this, you did that, and just sitting back and letting it all happen. That's not leadership. Okay, that's foolishness, and that's not what Mike Norvell brought to the table here. And again, that gives me even more encouragement into what he's doing as the leader here. Again, leader is the key word there for Florida State. I believe what he's saying. I do. I believe that the way that he is speaking about the way they're going to respond from this shows a ton of just foresight for what Florida State has in front of them the rest of the season. There's a book that I love by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. It's a great read. Would encourage you to check it out. The entire book is about people being met with circumstances through no fault of their own, or in some ways some fault of their own, and then seeing those obstacles as the opportunity to propel them forward. Now, I'm not trying to get all David Goggins, motivational speaker here on you, but I'm just trying to put it how it is right now. This game can be the catalyst for Florida State should they choose to react and respond the way that Mike Norvell is telling them they need to respond. He's saying, yeah, you can look back on this and say, yeah, that was tough. That was a brutal experience. But guess what? We took that. We responded to it. We allowed it to push us forward instead of bog us down. And we won anyway. And we found a way to move forward. Like for Florida State now, this loss can show you, okay, hey, we got to get better up front some way, somehow. Hey, what we're doing offensively, we probably need to tinker with that. Hey, DJU, we probably need to push the ball downfield a little bit more. Mike Norvell saying, that's on me. I got to prepare us as a team to get better and to do more. I love that. So It's not a lot of, well, we need to try harder, we need to do this. It's not just beating your head against the wall and saying you want results. That's not leadership. That's not what Mike Norvell's saying. He's saying we're going to use this, we're going to adjust, we're going to respond, we're going to be in good shape. I'd say this too for Florida State. What we saw on Saturday, I don't believe is totally indicative of the talent they still have on this roster. Like what we saw in week 0, I'd be very surprised if that's the same thing we see from them when they play football games in November. I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. There's a lot of talent still on this roster. And with all that talent on this roster, I think they are very much so capable when they play their best football to win every game in front of them. Not calling my shot, just saying that's 100% a possibility for Florida State the rest of the way. This culture from Mike Norvell is not something new. How many times did you see Florida State in a close game in the second half, in the fourth quarter, and it didn't always make sense? It was, just kind of a play here, a play there they just happened to make. I'll just say this, teams with great culture happen to have things work out for them. They happen to make those plays. Why? Because their temperature competitively never dips. And never get the fast heart rate, the big eyes. They stay the course. They believe in each other. They believe in their staff. They believe in their practices. They believe in the way they do things. And they keep it pushing. And they keep on going, moving forward, pressing the envelope, adjusting, but pressing the envelope. And good things happen to them. It sounds sort of simplistic, but I'm just telling y'all, that's the way that this whole thing works. And so what I'm trying to say here is this Mike Norvell culture, I don't believe, is totally mature just yet. But I think once it does mature, once it does become ripe, we've seen the fruits that it can bear. So for Florida State now, again, this one hurts. I'm not trying to unpack the whole loss, but hearing Mike Norvell in that locker room post-game, if I'm a Noles fan, or if I'm in that locker room, that fires me up and that gets me excited for what's ahead. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.